Okay, so good morning. It is another Thursday. I'm actually on my way to yet another doctor appointment. So we're going to pray to the Wi-Fi gods that everything works well this morning. But uh, as we start our morning, gratitude, shout outs, anything that we want to share with the group before we get started this morning. Any gratitude, any shout outs, any announcements. And as you are thinking about that, I have one announcement. Next Thursday, if you are tracking, it is already going to be the third Thursday, which means we are going to be doing our call night. So I've heard a lot of you guys are doing it. I heard some of you guys are doing like thousand dial day next Thursday. So that'll be cool. Sharky, good morning. Yes, sir.
Hey, I have two things. I just want to give a shout out to our team, the new people on the team that are just like really going after it, like pushing themselves and being really open to feedback and not taking it like emotionally or anything like that. They've just really been taking it in and turning it around. And then I'm also grateful for whoever is driving you right now so that you can do this Zoom.
Aren't we all glad? I would be the kind of person that would attempt doing this while driving, but I will spare everyone the stress of that. My husband is right next to me, and he gets the pleasure of driving me in the morning. I can't seem to get any other appointments than Thursdays. They just love Thursdays at my place. Um,
Yeah.
for that, and a huge shout out to all the new agents. If you're a new agent, joining the industry right now, it is a tough industry to join to begin with. This is a tough market. You are way tougher than the market. You are way tougher than you think, and it is setting you up for such amazing success. A lot of the OGs that I see on the call here that I know were in the market in that 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like complete bloodbath of a market. Hi, May, going to you.
Yeah. So I want to give two shout outs. One for Brian Williams. He closed on a listing yesterday. And y'all, we had that listing for almost a year. And I want to give him a shout out for, I see Adelina's face. I'm like, what's going on there? Like, got to protect my partner over there. We had that listing for almost a year. And that listing was set by our ISA, now agent Yaz. And just want to give him a shout out for grit because that is a gritty thing, holding on to a listing and those conversations with the seller. He had to extend the listing agreement a few times, and we got it closed. And shout out to Blueprint Title for making that happen and all their help along the way. And then the next thing is I want to give a shout out to Kevin on our team. He penned it at $875,000 buyer, and that, the reason I want to shout out, and I know Kevin gets a lot of shout outs, is he always gives the credit back due to the previous challenges that he's done. And there's never been a challenge that he hasn't done ever since they started. So with everybody gearing up to do these challenges, take that as the motivation that some of these deals or most of these deals come from the work that he did in the previous challenges. So you'll start seeing these results 60 to 90 days later. So good job, Kevin. Good job, Brian.
I love that. And hopefully the sound is coming through okay. But everyone that I know that had a really strong quarter 1 had a really great production contest, the last one. So it's pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see. I didn't even know, Kevin, that they make $800,000 houses out there. That's pretty cool. I love it. I love it. I don't know if you got a chance to read through the notes that I had for our mastermind this morning, but I thought this was a really fun fact. We have 2,084 people doing the production challenge company wide. 2,084 people. That is 2/3 of the company. What do you think happens to sales and stock value when 2/3 of your company is doing a production challenge when no one else is doing anything like that? right? Jaime, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's awesome that everybody's getting involved. And not only that, I'm also asking all like a lot of the non-place agents that I come into contact with. I'm asking them to come along to the challenge with us. And if they say they don't have the tools, then we're going to make the tools available to them, everything except for like the brevity stuff and everything that they don't have access to. And also have two non-place operators that are doing that with their team. And it's everything to immerse them into our culture. And my coach said this, what if every team lead added 5 agents during this challenge? Our company would grow just exponentially. And not only that, I had somebody ask one time about recruiting and everything like that, and I was like, we all have such a great opportunity within our company that we need to be sharing this with everybody who could possibly benefit or be an asset to our company. So with that being said, bring along people that you like to be a part of the challenge with you, enlist support, and that's what it comes down to.
I love that. I love that. So let's move on to the first topic then. Strategy wise, right? We're thinking about our quarter two production contest that starts next Tuesday. Which is an odd day, but I get it. April 15th is a good a day as any. What on the open house mindset? So 50 open houses. What strategies are you guys using? Just pop your hand up so that I can call on you. What strategies are you using? 50 open houses in 75 days. 50 open houses in 75 days. Michael, what are you doing?
So for me, I feel like with open houses, it's best to front load. I'm front loading a lot of stuff on this challenge. I want to get to 24 open houses by week 4 because that'll give you whatchamacallit. Sorry, math isn't working right now. At least if you get to 22 open houses by week 4, you're going to have 28 open houses for the remainder of the challenge. That's just 4 weeks over the next 7 weeks. I'm going to continue to front load and do as many open houses as I can at the beginning, just because you never know what's going to pop up towards the end. You might get tired towards the end. The more you do at the beginning, the more momentum you're going to have going towards the latter portion of it. So I think the more you can kind of check off, and then when you get to June and you say, oh, I've already done 40 open houses, I only need to do 10 open houses this month, it makes things so much easier. So that's my personal perspective on it.
I love that. Okay, Michael Veza, that is his strategy. What other strategies have you thought about? Because I know more than half the call is doing this. 50 open houses. If you are doing the 50 open houses, how are you going to get it done? Sharky.
Hey, Adelina, first time caller, long time listener. I'm really excited to get share here. So for me, because I have my kids on Thursdays and Fridays and every other weekend, I have to use the week, right? And the realization that the competition and place allows us to count, uh, you know, uh, 2 hours as an open house or 3 hours as an 1.5 open houses. Like I'm going to do 3 and 4 hour open houses and use the open house during the week as like my work office, right? Get things done there, pick a smart place to open house, and then work from there. And then, like Michael says, like front load as well, because if we're really trying to get 5 listings before the end of the contest, we need to have met a bunch of people, and that takes a little time to cycle through.
Can I add a follow-up to that? Can I add the follow-up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm curious if you're going to do them during the week, how do how do you anticipate not having anyone like not having a bunch of zeros? Like what's a strategy around that, or have you thought about that?
Yeah, so I thought about like being near schools and things like that, because when schools let out, if I have signs, that are directional and that catch people like that are either going before they go to pick up their kids or whatever, that they see on the way to do pickup, then they can swing by after. I've also been trying to think about how to have signs that give times on them. I've done that in the past where it's so people are clear, like, oh, hey, this is going to be from 2 to 5 or something like that. So I do have time to go after school. That's what I've been thinking. Do you have any other thoughts to share?
I love that. Okay, so I'm curious for anyone who does times on their sign, like how are you doing it? Just because in Austin people don't generally do that. So I think that's brilliant. And I would love to see what everybody around the country who does put times on their open houses, like can you like put a picture of it or like help us out?
Uh,
Okay.
yes. Go
I
for it.
really like that. I love the idea. You guys go into your MLSs, see the areas that are moving quick already, because the areas that are moving quick already, and every area's got them. Like Austin is very much not a seller's market, but we have pockets that have multiple offers. So let's do open houses during the week in those areas because you are going to get people so that you don't have the goose eggs. So it's not about just doing 50 open houses. It's about doing 50 good open houses if you can, right? Sharky, that is great. Somebody on our team write down that let's figure out something for times to put on our signs. I'm gonna go. Is it Aline? Alina?
Aline.
Aline, what a great name.
Thank you.
All right. What's your strategy? 50 open houses.
Well, as far as the number one, the times that you're talking about, and this is part of the strategies organization, getting your setup ready, having all that ready to go. But we print out numbers and laminate them. So we'll have, 1 to 3, 11. So we'll have all those different numbers in their little slot. And then we take those numbers and stick them on the sign with a little bit of putty. So our signs will say open house today with a little arrow and then from, and then you just plug in the numbers. But if you have them nice and laminated, it's really easy to plug in.
I love that idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah, another strategy is partnering with other agents in 2 different ways. Number one is letting other agents know that we are doing the challenge. So that way they're coming to you and saying, hey, I've got this listing coming up on the weekend, or I've got this listing coming up in 2 weeks, and you already have open houses that are available to you versus having to dig through the MLS and call every single agent. So letting them know that you're doing the challenge, and also partnering with another agent that is doing the challenge, and that way they can put out the signs and I can pick them up and kind of flip flop it like that. Because I just remember that first challenge, and it was my first month as an agent, and I was just putting out signs Friday night in the rain going, oh, Ben, I just hate you right now. Like that was the toughest part, every single night being out there in the rain and putting out all these signs is just a lot of work. So it's nice to have somebody to help you out with that. And then just mapping out the area, because I did get caught up a few times where I was we're in Atlanta, so it's pretty spread out, not just Metro Atlanta, all the areas around. And I remember one day just doing an open house in Kennesaw and then one in Alpharetta, and they were both 30 minutes away from my house, but it was an hour away from each other. And then I accidentally took the key from Kennesaw, so I had to go back and bring back the key. So mapping out those areas and being really strategic about, if you're going to be in a certain area on a certain day, do 2 or 3 open houses there, and then go to a different area and do 2 or 3 open houses there. And lastly is you mentioned doing open houses in areas that do get multiple offers, which I think is great. But also the downfall to that is that sometimes you might have an open house that's, you're planning on Monday to do that open house, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They just got an offer on it, and now they don't want you to do the open house. So having a few backups in case your schedule, that doesn't work out, because your schedule can quickly fall apart in areas that have multiple offers. And some agents might still let you do the open house, but does that really make sense to go do an open house on a house that says pending or under contract? Well, you might not have as many people show up.
That all makes perfect sense because we know if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and nothing will wear you guys out more than having to run around and doing all of it feels harder than it needs to, right? I love all of your points. That's awesome. And on the multiple offer front, I would say those are good during the week, because to your point, you're right. If it goes through a weekend, it's probably selling. So you probably need to get them in, if they go into the MLS Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, can you get them those days before everybody else shows up? So I love that. Deldy, Oh, I lost you, Deldy. You there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't
Oh,
unmute
you're good.
myself. I was going to say front loading is key. I've challenged a few of my agents to do 8 open houses the first 3 weeks. So 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday and Sunday, and or 1 on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but 8 up front to get momentum. As far as the signs, Laura Miller out of Portland, she did one of the open house. She didn't do the last open house challenge, but she did the previous one. She uses sheet protectors. She just gets a sheet protector, prints up the time, puts it on her sign, because I tend to overthink things and I feel like I need the sign, I need the rider. You don't need that. I have tons of riders. They never work because we never had the proper times. It just never worked for us. So all she does is just prints one out, puts it on her signs, and goes. Preparation, I'm going to say, is going to be key for any of these challenges, and making sure that you have your call list at your open house for the next. So make sure you have your hotspot, your call list, that you are prepared to do a second type of lead gen activity at your open house, because so often we fail to plan for the next one or to have that second one. So I just think preparation is going to be key. And right now, Adelina, is the time for us to prep. Get your table, get your sheet protectors, get your signs, which you have said, and we know you need a minimum of 12 to 15 signs to have, in my opinion, a very effective open house. So if you're putting less than that, get more signs now. That's my thing. So anyway, preparation is key.
I love that. There's a lot of research, to Deldy's point, that has gone into what drives someone from an open house to your open house. We know it is signs, 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 right? And like, obviously, the people who already live there are either interested in selling or they know people who want to buy in the neighborhood. Then it's all your different platforms like your Zillows and
Did you drink
Homes.com
tequila yesterday? Did
and
you
your
drink tequila
realtor.
yesterday?
There we go. So we know those are like major ones. And then it's the effort that you put in, your circle prospecting, your door knocking. So at any point, if you're missing any of those, you may be missing out on clientele.
One more
Accurate?
thing, Avelina, that so many of us fail. I've never had a bad open house. I don't know why. And I think it's my mindset. So if you are going in with the right mindset, you're going to get what you put in out. I have some agents, oh, I never get anybody, I nothing. Like, you cannot go in with that mindset. So mindset before your open house is going to be key. It's why we do the activities before. So often we forget those activities that lead us up to it. So just, there's a lot of preparation. Door knock, 5 on one side, 5 on the other. At least do a minimum of 10 if you're not doing it. So just, I think, again, mindset's another piece that so often we forget, especially when we're going into something like this. And we're probably in the middle of it. It's where we're going to need more of that mindset. So go in with the proper mindset.
I agree. And I know that, like, I'm not an airy fairy kind of person, like, this whole like, prime yourself and, you're vibrational. But remember, everything is energy. The energy you carry into anything is what is going to be reflected back. So to Deldy's point, and I can imagine why Deldy does not have bad open houses. If you've ever talked to Deldy is a ball of energy that creates wonderfulness around her. And so be that person, right? Love it. Christina, going to you. Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. I just have a question.
Ma'am.
So Adeldi, like if you're doing 8 open houses a week, are you doing the same address each time, or like how many addresses? And then are you circle prospecting for each of those 8 open houses? And then, sorry, last question is, what tool do you use to circle prospect if you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's going to depend on the location and where you're going to get the most traffic. So if it was me, doing that. Now, this is the challenge I'm putting out to go and do 8 the first 3 weeks to front load because summer's right around the corner. May is here, graduation parties, like there's a lot of stuff happening. So April, these first 3 weeks are going to be pivotal, in my opinion, to getting everything going. I think that's how we started. So what I'm saying is put in the hard work up front and get there as quickly as possible and get that momentum going and then scale back a little bit. So it doesn't matter what days of the week that you're going to be picking. I think you need 1 day off on the weekend. But if it was me, I would pick a different open house and I would be circle prospecting. We use Mojo for circle prospecting. Although you could, if you have a big database, in one of my markets, we have a really, really big database. You can reverse prospect too. So you can reverse prospect in Brivity and do it that way. So there's different ways, but Mojo or Brivity, either one's going to work. The key is make the dials. So often we forget 1 or 2 of the lead gen levers and we just show up and just do open houses. Then you wonder why you don't get anything out of it. So that's my key. And then just remember that the goal is for prospects. And our open houses is for prospecting and adding nurtures to our database. So if you get it from door knocking or from circle prospecting, I mean, you're winning. You're winning. I think that's the key. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Christina, we use Mojo as well for like just for the 3-line dialer for that specific purpose. Land Voice I know also has a platform within Brivity, and the difference would be that it's a 1-line versus a 3-line. My suggestion from the people that have done it successfully on our team year after year after year has been 100 people within the neighborhood. Like once you start like scaling this, it's hard to do, 500 or a mile radius or whatever. But if you grab the first 100, they're the ones that are closest to the neighbor that you're hosting open that probably most know that neighbor. And the script that I find most effective isn't I want to invite you to the open house. Like if you're using that, like, and it's working for you, like great, keep using it. But Charlie on our team uses a script similar to, I'm hosting this house open and I will be having market analysis for the neighborhood available at the open house. I'd love for you to be able to stop by between 2 and 4 on Thursday. And if you're going to be at work or you're not going to be able to, would you like me to send that to you? And what email can I use to send you? A lot has been going on in the market. I know you saw the market tank in Austin. We're starting to see a comeback. And that means a lot to you and the equity that you have in your home. I'd love to get a market analysis of your new market value to you. So like bring it back to value. If you're not bringing something back to value, then you're like, what's the difference between somebody who just opens doors, right? That's the equivalent of like when we make our calls of just inviting. I'm just calling to invite. Okay, I'm gonna go to Deanna.
Yeah, hi, good morning. One thing that I thought about as we're kind of masterminding and talking is I actually buy a bunch of different signs. And I'll show you guys real quick just to see if you can kind of look at the show and show and tell. If you can kind of see, you see it says today, similar, I can't remember who else was on there, but who mentioned it, but I buy like quite a few signs because if I'm having an open house like from 4 to 5 or from 4 to 6 on Tuesday, I might buy 3 signs and then specify 4 to 5 because they're directional, right? And I put them in the spots where it's going to attract people. And our last open house challenge, I got a lot of, how did you hear about the open house signs? Or how did you hear about the open house? And they said, because of the signs, right? So I got a lot of traffic through that. And I will do specific like the lunchtime hours, right? 11 to 2 or 12 to 1. And I have like 5 different signs that say the time on there as well as specifying today so that they know, it's not left over from the weekend, right? Because you do see those signs as well. So that's just something that I thought I'd bring because it's been very helpful for me as well. So
I love that. I think what what I love about this, Deanna, is you're not overthinking it. Like, Deanna, when you put that sign back up in case anybody missed it, they zoned out. There we go. Look at Deanna. She is going to put her sign up. Now, do you see Deanna's name anywhere on that sign?
Make sure
No.
Deanna can talk so we can see it real quick. Sorry, Adelina.
There, let me see. Can everybody see it? Hold on
I'm
one
having a hard
second.
time seeing her. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go. I'm going to pin right there. Can you see her?
Yeah, that's great.
Like, Deanna is not overthinking this. Like, she's not worried about, like, oh my gosh, is it pretty enough? Is it blah blah blah? Is my face all over it? No, like, don't, like, we overthink things. Deanna, I appreciate that you share that. Because at the end of the day, it's just a directional, guys. This isn't a for sale sign. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. You're just trying to tell people where to go. Like, let yourself do the talking when they get there. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna wrap with, I mean, obviously the hardest one is the open houses because it takes effort and time. The second hardest is gonna be probably the 5,000 dials. Real quick, who has strategy on the 5,000 dials? Warbeck, yes, sir.
Hear me now? So kind of a similar strategy to what everyone kind of talked about for open houses: front load, front load, front load. But also get strategic. Find out how many dials a day, how many work days you're going to have as far as dialing goes. Find out how many you need to complete that day, and set your schedule accordingly. There's nothing worse than, you know, going willy-nilly into a challenge like this without having actual goals, daily goals. And so I think for my last two challenges, my goals was 65 dials a day was going to get it done in Brivity. And then I would, at the end of my week, I would do my 300 a week in Mojo. And that kept me on track to where I wasn't rushing. I wasn't feeling overwhelmed at the end. And it was just nice. Honestly, 5,000 dials now, sorry, 5,000 dials now seems easy. And it's all about strategizing correctly. And I think the last thing I would say on that is get strategic with what you're doing with those dials, right? So if you've got, let's say you want to add 10 contacts because that's part of the challenge as well. Well, call people that you don't have an email address for and use a script to get that email address. And one of the things I always do is I have a database of vendors and I ask, if you need anything for your home, give me a call. Even if it's like a plumber or a roofer, I say, you know what? In fact, it might be easier if I just email it to you. Would you be offended if I asked for your email address? And I think 1 out of every 3 people you ask that to, number one, they're not offended. Number two, you're providing them a vendor list of all things home related. So it's just a great way of doing that.
I love that. And man, you know what? Maybe like I've been living under a rock, but I love what you just said about your Monday through Thursday, you're focusing on Brivity, and then Friday's your Mojo day. Boy, that really allows you to really hunker down and like focus. I love that. Good morning, Zach. Mr. San Antonio.
Good morning. Sorry, I have my well, yeah, our strategy is we're on Thursday. It's call night already. So our team, they came up with the idea of just make it a mass action day and do 1,000 dials on Thursday since we're going to be doing call night anyways. So we're front loading it. And then we also broke it down. If we don't front load it, it's 90 dials pretty much Monday through Friday. That's about 2 hours of dialer sessions on Brivity. So we're just going to front load it and then break it down 90 a day. And then we should be able to hit it probably earlier than June 30th.
I love that. And like often the feedback that I would get from my team would be that it just feels like a lot of work. And I agree. Number one, it's our job anyway. Like, I don't know what we're doing if we're not working 40 hours, right? It's not even full time in a lot of places nowadays. But to that point, the more purpose you add to this, right? When it's like a mass action day, like that feels different from just a regular day. or when you are circle prospecting for a buyer that you have, that feels more purposeful than just, randomly choosing something. Find a way to create purpose around it so that you can create energy around it. I love that. Aline, I'm going to you.
I love that idea, and I think that you can front load some of those 500 dial days, but I've completed 2 challenges and failed the third one. And the reason I failed, part of the reason was because I did try to do mass action days, and that doesn't always work because suddenly you get a listing appointment. Well, guess what? I'm going to cancel everything I'm doing and go ahead and go to that listing appointment. Or if I have an out of town buyer that is like, hey, I'm going to be in town Thursday and I planned on doing 1,000 dials Thursday, well, there goes my whole schedule. So I think that's great to do on the front end, but don't try to set a schedule where you're going to do 3 500 dial days every week, because it's probably not going to work out, because things happen. So another thing that's worked for me is using every spare moment to make some dials. So if I got to an open house early and I had an extra 15 minutes to kill, 15 20 minutes, and I got 20 30 40 dials in, if you do that 10 times in the week, that's an extra 300 or 400 dials. So using every few minutes that you have, even if you're just getting 30 calls in, really, I think helped me, and those add up quickly.
I love that. I love that. And to your point, you should be setting appointments during this time. Like, it's gonna be impossible to have this much activity without setting appointments. Like, that is like fantastic. And when you do, right? When you set those appointments, use that winning streak as momentum to get more, right? Like, you ever have those days where like everything is going right and it feels good? Like, don't stop. A lot of times, a lot of the coaches will say, well, you'll set an appointment and you will high five for the next hour or the whole day because you set your appointment and you're done. Instead, set that appointment, send that text confirmation within 30 seconds, and move on to the next one, right? So that you can set the next appointment. I love, love, love that. If you're on this call and you're like, I am actually not doing this production challenge, no problem. I bet if you just chose one thing, it would probably create momentum in your business. If you're on this call and you're doing all the things and you need any kind of support, whether that's a tool, whether that is a strategy, whether that is burnout, whether that is, I'm not really sure why I'm doing this, don't go at it alone. People who go at things alone almost always fail. That's just life. Like, nobody's willpower is that high that you're just going to keep winning by yourself forever and ever and ever. Like, this is why we all exist on this call. We're here to help each other. Just reach out. If it's not me and it's somebody else, cool. Find people to reach out to. Don't let what the market's doing, don't let what your friend in real estate is doing affect your bottom line, because you could have the best freaking like year ever. I'm so looking forward to it. We will see you next Thursday. Next Thursday, we have Miss Emily from Utah, and she has built her business on LinkedIn and doing business lunch and learns. So if that is something that you have aspired to do in the past, number one, either using tech like LinkedIn, or number two, doing business lunch and learns and meeting multiple homeowners or want to be homeowners, this will be a good call for you. So we will see you guys. Have a good one. Bye, guys.